Hey, everybody, GameHounds Podcast. We are here doing our pre-show prep. Edie Sellers. Nick DiNicola is over there. That direction. Yeah, we're just doing our stuff here, getting our news together. I don't have any games to talk about. That's not true.
Well, I have something.
I mean, I started playing something, but I don't think I played enough of it to be actually to talk about it. So I might talk about it next week.
You could at least bring it up. I'm curious what it is.
It was Hue.
Oh, I've played that.
I just I like dabbled in it, and I'm like, I just want to take a nap, so I took a nap instead.
Fair. I will start with the biggest news. It is with a heavy heart that I must report to you and everyone else that Diaper Cat is dead. But hold your tears, for his sacrifice was not in vain. Diaper Cat, in fact, had to die so that Cone Cat will live.
I wish I could zoom in at this point.
It's a little anticlimactic.
Yeah, but you can see the cone, the little plastic cone there.
Yes. God. Yes.
So you actually have a cat that isn't in a diaper.
He's not in a diaper. No.
And is he spraying or anything?
No. What's crazy? It's like a switch got flipped. Just immediately the day after he stopped spraying. He has gone.
Wow, that's really rare.
He's gone to the same corners that he used to spray in, sniffed around, and I would watch him like a hawk, waiting for the moment for him to stick his butt in the air so I can swat him away. And he never does it. He just sniffs and then walks away. And I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah, you are lucky because that doesn't really ever happen.
I was prepared to have to train him not to spray. I've just this morning I went out for breakfast and he's been chilling here without diaper. The other day I went to a movie at night, completely left him alone, completely undiapered. I've come back and have probably looked like an insane person smelling the corners of my apartment trying to find signs of pee. Haven't found anything.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I am so glad for you because it's a nightmare to have a spraying cat because once they start, they don't.
So
stop. It's not a switch in 99.99999% of cases. So I'm really happy for you.
He continues to surprise. Awesome. And so, yes, Diaper Cat is no more, but Cone Cat has risen to take his place.
And then soon Cone Cat will be dead and you will just have Cat.
He can't just be Cat.
He's going to have to be the something cat.
He must be, yes. I'm trying to think of a good, gladiator name for him because he is the immortal, the unkillable blank.
Speaking of which, you said gladiator. I only found out about this last week because my boss, it's kind of a convoluted story, but my boss went to Italy and Greece last week with his son. And I had mentioned it to my neighbor who used to work with him as well, the one who got me my job. And he told me that my boss always does fun stuff like this. You know, every 1 to 2 years, he goes with his son and goes and do something really cool. And he said last time that he went and did something with his son, it was gladiator school. And I was like,
what? Like what? American gladiators or
is
Roman
this a
gladiators?
Thing? I don't know. But if there is a gladiator school and they will accept a overweight, aging 50-year-old woman, I'm fucking going to gladiator school. I'm going to look this up.
I forget what the show was. I think it was on Netflix. That was like some sort of modern gladiator one. And it had, average people, athletic people, but average people trying to do these various stunts about, they would have to run through a maze while being chased by a gladiator, almost like a tag. and I don't think I ever watched all of it because it was okay. It was no floor is lava. I'll say that.
Apparently, it is Roman gladiator school, and it is in Italy. It's a 2-hour Roman gladiator training. Learn gladiator fighting techniques from members of the historic group of Rome. Wear and use traditional clothing and weapons. Includes entrance to the Gladiator School of Rome Museum and your choice of lessons times throughout the day. I am going to stop this screen right now, and I am going to reshare it with sound because I want to play that video so that we can all appreciate what that is.
The death match. I've done a lot of schooling in my life, and usually it's really boring. But today, I'm going to gladiator school.
I want to
I'm pretty excited about this. Come on.
Ave.
This looks...
Ave.
You show me your right hand. It means that you come in peace. You have no knives.
No knives.
Great. We are a reenacting group focused in the Roman period.
I'm in a museum right now, and Marcus Aurelius is teaching us the history of gladiators. He's showing us the old weapons, the old gnarly-looking helmets, and it's pretty cool, but I think I'm ready for some actions. You see this thing? You just stick it over the shield like this so you can still get at him. I am now a gladiator. Before we start swinging any swords, I gotta go through the gladiator warm-up obstacle course. Here we go.
Okay, come on! Quick, come on!
This thing was really fun. It was so much fun. It was exciting for all of us. It's nothing like we've done.
1, 2.
So we've been in gladiator school for about 15 minutes so far, and we're already dueling our partners. Okay. Russell Crowe, watch out.
I am down for this. If you're down for this, I am totally down for this.
We'll have to find a way to get to Rome.
We're going to have to go on a Roman vacation and go to gladiator school.
Mm-hmm.
And we will absolutely freaking YouTube that shit for you guys.
That looks pretty awesome.
It does, doesn't it? That is just exactly the thing I need right now in my life. Is I need two things. I need a rage room and I need gladiator school. Between the two of them, I think that will sort out all of my depression.
Yeah, I feel like one leads into the other. Right? You can't have a gladiator school without a rage room.
Right. Well, rage room, we can do a rage room around here. You want to do a rage room with me?
Is that a trademarked thing? Rage room?
That's a thing. It's a bit like what do they call the things that you go on that you have to get yourself out of the room, and it's a bunch of like
escape room?
Escape rooms. It's like escape rooms, but in that it's like
but
a
you
thing.
have to like Hulk out and smash your way out.
No, you don't have to smash out. They fill a room with things like electronic equipment and china and
and you smash
they
it all?
give you bats and and it's you just go in for 15 minutes and smash the shit out of stuff.
Just sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, I really want to do a rage room.
In the chat, AC Wraith is dead on. We just want to go back in time and play Double Dare.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
yes.
I remember at Great America, they used to have some sort of setup that was kind of Double Dare-esque, where you and your group were put into like some little hut, and another team got put across the lot on another hut, and you would have like water balloon slingshots that you would shoot out of the top and try to hit the other people, because if it hit the top, the water would run down like the slanted top of the hut and onto everyone. So you're like shooting water balloons trying to fill up the enemies, to a certain line, like Double Dare. And at the end, there's like a winner that reached that line first. It was so much fun because It was one of the only experiences that was Double Dare-esque, especially as a kid. Are
they still around? I can't believe that they wouldn't be still around.
Great America is still around. I think it's Six
Great
Flags.
America.
Great
It's
America
no longer Great.
now?
Is it Great America even now?
I think it's Six Flags Great America.
It
But
is.
I don't think they have that attraction there. Still.
Yeah, they just call it California Great America.
Oh, really?
California's Great America. Yep.
So it used to be Paramount's. Then it was Six Flags.
It was Marriott originally.
So it used to be Marriott's.
Marriott when it first opened, because I was at Great America the first week it opened. And it was in the middle of fucking nowhere. In fact, my mother was like, we got to go to Milpitas. Ugh. It's the middle of nowhere. So yeah, it was a Marriott's Great America first when it opened. Then it became Paramount's Great America. Then it became Six Flags Great America. And now it's California's Great America. I'm not sure who runs it.
Yeah, I guess did Six Flags like sell it off
Maybe.
for some reason?
I don't know. Let's see who runs it. Does it say?
Interesting. Well, I wonder what. I'd be curious to see a map of that park now to see how much of it is still the same that it was when I was a kid.
Yeah, I mean, even when I was there, I remember that there was a ride called Willard's Whizzer.
That's definitely not there.
And it was a full-on roller coaster with no seat belts.
Oh, jeez.
And I did not know that because you were supposed to have two people. It was two people sitting in front of each other like bobsled, like one person with their legs around the person in front.
Mm-hmm.
And I went on it by myself. And I went looking for the seatbelt, and there's no seatbelt, and there's no person holding me in.
Was it like loop-the-loops?
Yeah. Yeah. And Willard's Whizzer, I believe, killed a couple of people. Probably a year later, a couple of people died on it.
That's not surprising.
They took it out. Yep. And it was exactly that situation where they were single riders, and because there was no seatbelts, because they were anticipating that the weight of each other would hold each other in, and if you only had a single rider, there was no holding you in. I held on. I was the most scared I've ever been in my life. Because he goes, fasten your seatbelts, let's go. And I'm like, I've got no seatbelts. And I'm like trying to stop the train going, I've got no seatbelts. Yeah. Good old days. The good old days when you could really, really die. And then, of course, there was the one where at California, and I think it was at that point, it was Six Flags, when the guy went, I was actually rode this roller coaster probably a month after the accident, but there was an accident where a guy had dropped his hat.
Oh, I heard that one. That was the Top Gun.
Was it Top Gun? Yes, it was Top Gun.
Yeah, because that's the one where your feet dangle.
Dangle. Right. And the guy had lost his hat, and so he jumped over all of the fences that say, don't jump over this, don't go in here, and he jumped over it, and a train one came, and he got hit in the head with somebody's legs, and it shattered the girl's legs that was riding, and it did the same thing to his head. His head exploded. Mm-hmm. What was it? Explosively decapitated him.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't hop fences.
There we go. The history of the wizard. You found it. Oh my God.
Oh wow, it's a video too.
Really? Oh my God. Talk about, we haven't started the show and we're already on our first major tangent. Let me find this. I am finding this now. YouTube. What was it called? History of the Whizzer roller coaster. Okay, we're looking it up.
Oh my God, I'm watching this video. This dude has a voice that will put you to sleep. You could down a jug of coffee. Listen to this guy. But it's not like in that ASMR pleasant
Oh
kind
yeah,
of way.
that's the Whizzer. It's absolutely the Willard's Whizzer. That is absolutely that
I
roller
remember
coaster.
the Grizzly. That was the oldest roller coaster when I was growing up.
See, now this was when it was
Marriott would
Six
open 2
Flags,
Americas
and it
in
was this is
1976.
what it
One
looked like
pictured here
when it first
would be
opened.
in Gurnee, Illinois, and the other pictured would be in Santa Clara, California. Needing a roller coaster to anchor both parks, they turned to German manufacturer Schwarzkopf, and their a 13-year-old boy was killed after.
There it is. You can see it
passengers
actually. You can see
attempted
in the blue cars. See, it's just these padded seats that were long. So somebody sat in the back and then somebody sat in front of them and then you held on. And there was no seatbelts. And I remember going up this corkscrew and going up the top, screaming my head off, terrified because I had no seatbelts. Yeah, so anyway. That was the Willard's. It was originally Willard's Wizard, and then it turned into just the Wizard. Because the whole thing about Great America was supposed to be like folksy and, frontier, so to speak.
I'm really curious to see what all the ride names are now, because I want to know if they're still named after Paramount movies. Like if it's still Drop Zone, if
I'm
it's still
sure
Top
not.
Gun.
Let's take a look. I can pull that. That I can pull up. Let's see. Great America Theme Park. All right, so there are the rides. Rides and experiences. Barney Oldfield Speedway, the Berserker Breakers Bay, Carousel Columbia, which has always been the Columbia.
Oh, I remember the
very beginning.
Centrifuge. That's definitely been there.
Character Carousel.
Oh, the Coastal Cruise. Delirium. Oh, I remember Delirium. Oh, the Demon is still there?
Wow, the Demon is still there.
Holy shit.
Wow, that is an ancient roller coaster. That thing has got to be 40 years old. 30 years old.
Did they rename Drop Zone Drop Tower?
I guess so.
Oh, that's lame.
Flight Deck. Flight Deck is Top Gun.
Oh, you're right. Oh, come. I'm irrationally angry at that. Okay, wait. Do you think Gold Striker was the Grizzly?
Yes, because the Grizzly was made of wood. Gold Striker is a Grizzly.
Is that horrible butt-breaking wooden roller coaster still there?
Great Skate.
Okay, Kite Eating Tree is actually a really good name for a ride. Mass Effect New Earth?
What?
What is that?
Oh, it's one of those VR experiences.
Yeah, one of those 3D things.
So there's your video game connection. Let's say go back to Flying Eagles, Mass Effect Mission Falls, NorCal Wipeout.
Orbit. I know Orbit. I don't think it had the same name, but I know that ride. Oh, Patriot. That used to be Vortex. That's the
Vortex.
One.
Yep.
Yeah. Weirdly enough, I remember the color of that roller coaster.
It's amazing the things that you remember.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I remember. Oh no, not Reef. Oh, the Rip Roaring Rapids.
Yep, Rip Roaring Rapids has always been Rip Roaring Rapids.
Mm-hmm. I don't know the log one. Did we pass the log ride?
I don't think they have a log one anymore. Oh, there's the Grizzly.
Oh. The Grizzly is still the Grizzly.
The Grizzly is still the Grizzly.
And it's still there. Jesus. Tide Pool or Tiki Twirl is new.
Yeah.
Oh, Whitewater Falls.
Whitewater Falls. That was the equivalent of the log ride.
No, they had another log ride.
No, you're right. They did. And it was an individual logs.
Yeah, because Whitewater Falls is just you go up, you go down, and make a wave.
Right. That's right.
I remember Extreme Skyflyer too. I did that.
I haven't done that one. I've done the one in Reno. I'll never do that again. Never. That is pure. The hardest thing about these right here isn't the flight down. It's that horrible moment suspended in midair where you have to release it yourself. It's like it's pulling the trigger on a Russian roulette. Like, I can't, I have to do this. There's no other way for me to get down. I have to inflict this wound on myself.
It is not that bad.
I hated it. And I had to pull the trigger, and it was so bad. So anyway, can we do the show now that it's
Sure.
we're 33 minutes in?
I also feel like I got to mention Bitters in the chat said he rode the demon when he was 6.
How did they let you on the demon when you were 6? Were you a really tall kid?
He must have just been tall. But yeah, that one has been there since forever.
Yeah.
That and the grizzly.
Alan Casper says, I thought I was a baller for surviving Action Park. Anybody who survived Action Park is a baller. That if you've never seen documentaries about Action Park, there have been multiple. And yeah, there's the movie that is a fictionalized account of it, a fictionalized version, but the real life, what happened at Action Park was just, or as it was called, Traction Park, is just insane that was allowed to exist for as long as it did. At all. The fact that it existed at all, that it was there to maim you. And it was there to, and the success of the park was based on you coming out of it not being maimed.
There's a link in the chat to a documentary, Defunct Land, The History of Action Park.
There you go. The history. I believe that may very well be, it is on YouTube, yeah. If you want to watch just like this can't be real, this cannot be real, watch Defunct Land, because when you're done, it's a bit like this is some kind of conspiracy, because there's no way this could have happened, but indeed it did.
But Bitters has a good excuse. He's like, it's the 80s. Child safety wasn't the same as it is now.
Child safety isn't the same as what it was now, but that's true. That being said, people did care if their children died or were, maimed or disfigured or paralyzed. They kind of cared about that shit.
As long as you don't die, it's all fine.
No, it was never all fine. I mean, people were paralyzed and maimed and it was
not
bad.
The demon, though. I don't think there were any serious injuries with the demon.
I don't remember any. I do remember the Willer's Wizard. That caused the
I remember the person that got hit in the leg with Top Gun, and I remember there was someone that slipped out of Drop Zone and fell to their death.
Yeah.
Those are the two that happened when I was a regular at
Alan Casper says, I went on the Alpine slide at Action Park when I was freaking insane to think about that now. Cement track, sled with wheels, brake lever never worked. Okay, so I never went to Action Park, but for one summer, there was a ski resort in Tahoe, California, and called that wasn't Boreal. It wasn't Boreal Ridge. It was I think it was Boreal Ridge, which was kind of one of the smaller ones, and they put in essentially the Alpine slide down the hill there. And there was nobody using it. Nobody was around. They pulled it out the next year. But my brother and I were there for that. And my dad paid for us. And we must have been 10. Probably Ian was 8 and I was 10. And we went down that slide. And even at the age of 10, I realized this was a very bad idea. And it was the same thing. The brake levers didn't work. I mean, it was brand new. Brake levers didn't work.
What type of slide? You're not sliding on concrete. You're on some sort of sled.
You're on a slide. You're on a sled. You're on a sled in a concrete tube, like a concrete. It wasn't even a tube. It was just a divot made of concrete. And you were on a sled with wheels and with one handlebar. And
Okay, so you're
forward
going-
made you go faster and brake made you go slower, but brake didn't work because
Okay, so
you were going 45, 50 miles an hour down that thing.
Okay, yeah, he says it's like concrete bobsledding.
Concrete bobsledding.
Okay.
And you were whizzing down there. And I remember Ian's, and they let us go like one right after another. So I'm right behind Ian. So every time Ian slowed down, I'm coming, I'm barreling in on him. And I remember like realizing I'm going to die. I only made it to 10. What a terrible way to die. And I'm holding on for dear life, trying to slow this thing down because I didn't want to run into the back of Ian. And I just see what had to be the world's largest chipmunk run up to the edge of the thing and look. And Ian, because Ian is my idiot brother, is an idiot brother. Ian sticks his hand out and just whacks it.
Oh, no.
Going 40 miles. I'm sure he killed that chipmunk. I'm sure he killed that chipmunk. But I just remember the chipmunk just flying and going end over end in like the split second I had to see it. There you go. That's the one.
Between this alpine slide, between the Whizzer, how many like near-death experiences have you had in amusement parks?
A lot. A lot. It was the 80s. Okay, I'm pulling up a video of the Alpine slide at Action Park. Yeah, that's the only thing in Action Park where I actually have my own memory, like a tactile memory of like, I know exactly what that is, and it should have never been allowed and should have never been exported to California. Let's see. There we go. Here's an 80 millimeter film of Action Park.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Okay, that's just no. There's the thing.
Oh.
Let me wait till that's it. There we go. That's what it was. But see that little like, easygoing thing? And it was the same thing with where we were in California. It was, they had the ski, car thing going up, and right underneath it is where they had the Alpine slide. And the hill that I went down was twice as steep as that slide because it was a ski resort. You were going down the ski resort. So it was a heavy, heavy duty hill. And nowhere near as twisty. It was quite straight down, as I recall. So anyway, yeah, that's the Alpine slide. So hey Alan, did that give you a little bit of nostalgia looking back at Action Park?
Nostalgia or like PTSD?
When it comes to Action Park, it's kind of the same thing. So yeah, let's see. Alpine slide, Big Bear. Alpine slide.
Is that another? The Alpine slide just won't die.
Oh no, he's pulling up the Alpine slide at Big Bear. Yes, this is essentially the same thing, but it's actually probably much safer. But it's the one that was at Boreal Ridge was.
Oh, it's at Magic Mountain.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. It's the one at Boreal Ridge was more the action park, the traction park thing. Class Action Park, the most dangerous rides you can find. HBO, yes, that's another good one. Thank you. I've seen Class Action Park, and it's also and what's hilarious about it is they bring people together that were kids back then and have them all get together and talk. And it's like there is this instantaneous bonding of the fact that they survived Action Park. And to this day, they still love it. It was the greatest place in the world to them. Understanding as adults that it should never have been allowed and they should have never gone. They're
defying death is exciting.
Yeah, because it can't and shouldn't ever happen again. The 12 most outrageous stories about Action Park, New Jersey's most infamous amusement park. There you go. From NewJersey.com. Can we start the
Okay.
show?
Yeah.
All right, let me pull
We
up.
talk
my-
about video
Yeah,
games.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly, whenever I play Roller Coaster Tycoon, I just made an action park. Right?
Really?
That's all I would do. I would just make coasters that end and send people flying off of it. I would always make like the worst disastrous parks.
yeah. That's the reason why you do it.
Mhm.
Check. All right,
Check.
that's me. Okay. Got you. We're good. So, let's start this crazy thing. We got a lot to talk about today. Talk about some crazy stories. I have a crazy story in the news that you're not going to believe. It is ridiculous and really, really, really did happen. All right, so let's start it.
Okay.
If you're younger than 18 or are easily offended, please stop this podcast now. Oh, and your mom says to take out the trash and do your homework.
All right, mics are hot. Hello and welcome to GameHounds. GameHounds episode 636. We are recording this on Sunday, April 24th, 2022. I'm Edie Sellers. With me is Nick D. Nicole. Is today Mother's Day?
I hope not.
Okay. All right, good. I don't pay attention to that stuff.
No, I
but-
think it's May. I think it's next week. Actually.
Oh, okay, good. All right. So happy not Mother's Day.
Yeah. Wow. I should get my mom something for Mother's Day.
Yeah. Hint, you have a week. Go take care of it. Go get something on Amazon Prime. It'll be there in 2 days. So yeah, Game Hounds Podcast, we're back and bringing you all the stuff that you're used to hearing and hopefully making you laugh while we do it.
And I just want to give a shout out in case we have 2 new listeners, Jake and Jackie, that I met past couple days ago. Went out to have a drink with them. Cool people. I told them about the podcast, so if
Very
they're
nice.
listening. Hi.
Hey, Jake. Hi, Jackie. So we've been talking in the live show. By the way, if you're listening to this as a podcast, we do this show live on Sundays at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. And we have been, as usual, I'm like, let's get on. We've got our stuff done. We're running a little bit late. Let's get moving. And then we hit a tangent that started with, what did you say? Something? You
Great
said the word.
America.
No, you started with the word gladiator. I said gladiator
yeah.
school.
Then
Glad-
that got us into amusement parks.
Amusement parks. That got us into amusement park accidents and near accidents and the times I almost died, which got us into action park.
And there's a whole twisty road of segues.
And I'm just honored that we have an action park survivor in the chat room right now.
Mm-hmm.
And you are survivors, my friends. If you made it out of there even remotely whole, you are survivors. My hat's off to you. I bow to your genetic and luck-based superiority.
Yes, Vice Ravon in the chat. Yeah, I agree.
Vice Ravana says Elden Ring player. The redacted players are like modern day gladiators. No, they're not. No, they're not.
Yeah, we are. We're warriors. Warriors of the
Whatever.
gaming age.
And thank you, AC Wraith. Sunday, May 8th is Mother's Day. So it's...
That's next week. No, not next.
No, it's 2 weeks from now.
Oh, I got plenty of time.
Is it 2 weeks from now? Let me take a look. It's the 24th. Yeah, no, the 31st. Let's see. No,
Yeah, 2
May.
weeks.
2 weeks. We got 2 weeks. All right, cool. So you've got more than enough time. You can actually go and you don't have to make it Prime. You can get exactly what she wants.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, redacted Mario Sunshine. That's the game, which
I
Nick
can't-
is going to
I
talk
can't call
about.
it Mario Sunshine because I have things to say about it. I haven't played it much this week, but I've been thinking about it a lot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Okay, I'll just get right into it.
Sure, why not? Let's
Yeah.
hit what you've been playing, because we know it's nothing but Elden Ring.
No, I've played other stuff too.
All right.
But Elden Ring, like the more I play of it, I remember when it came out and there's that picture going around of like, if Elden Ring was a Ubisoft game, it would have like compass, objective markers, all this stuff, and the screen was like littered with stuff, and people were using it as a joke to make fun of Ubisoft games. But as I've played more and more of Elden Ring, I feel like it wants to go in that direction. I can feel the From Software's traditional design philosophy of let's just not document anything is really clashing with what they want Elden Ring to be. And so this is by far and away the most accessible From Software game to date. And it's just a bunch of little things. It's like if you go into the menu, you'll see, things like vitality, endurance, and then immunity, robustness. Like what is immunity and robustness? What do they do? In previous games, you would have no idea. You had to look it up outside the game. In Elden Ring, you can hit like a help button that brings up a cursor that you can hover over every menu item that tells you specifically what it does. Oh, immunity protects you against these two specific status effects. Robustness prevents these other two specific status effects. And that's just a little modicum of user-friendliness that wasn't in previous games. But then I'm looking at the menu, and specifically the magic items I've collected, and I'm realizing they're kind of organized in a weird way. Because the menu's a grid. It's got rows, it's got columns. The top row has like 3 items in it, and then jumps down to the next row. So that row is not filled. And then the other one below it is not filled. And the other one below it is not filled. I'm like, why is it organized this way? And what I realized is it's organizing these things by lore. So that, this group of spells was used by the Magic Academy. This other group of spells was used by these people that live in a mansion on top of these hills. This other set of magic was used by the knights as they wandered the world. And so it's just a little bit of the game trying to help the average player connect the dots. Like, Elden Ring still wants to do a majority of its world building through item descriptions, but they're trying to make it a little bit easier for people to connect the dots on those item descriptions. The problem is that it's still item descriptions. And I feel like the lore that they want people to understand, like they're really clashing. I feel like somewhere there is some UI designer at From that just wants to add an encyclopedia to the game. Where, hey, every time you get an item,
A codex.
it just fills out a little section of the codex. Like, you can still use item descriptions for the majority of your world building, but just have like a codex, like you said, that slowly gets filled out every time you find a new item, so that it's a bit easier for people to understand what these connections are, to understand the context that these items exist in. And they want to make something that's more accessible, but they don't want to change their fundamental design philosophy of let's not document anything. And those two are really clashing. The most that they're clashing is with side quests, because most From games in the past have not really had side quests. They've had characters that you meet along the way, but those characters, like their stories exist in parallel to yours. Where I met Bob in the beginning, and then I met Bob in the Fire Mountain, and then I met Bob again in the Frost Mountains. And every time I met Bob, he told me what was going on with him. Like, hey, Bob, what are you up to? And I got an update each time. But I'm not like specifically influencing Bob's story. His story only progresses if I find him and I get that update from him. But it's not like he's asking me, hey, help me out with this. So it didn't really matter that those games didn't document these character interactions, because they weren't side quests. I didn't have to keep these things in mind. It's just people that you stumbled across in the world. Elden Ring has people who very explicitly say, "Hi, I'm looking for item X. I will meet you in location Y so that we can fight person Z in order to progress something." After 10 hours, I don't remember any of those details. I just remember, oh, wait, yeah, that dude that looked like a wolf asked me to meet him somewhere.
It sounds like this is a game that you want to have almost like a notebook, like take notes, a diary.
You do. For this game, especially with the side quests, it feels like you need to have a notebook to keep track of all of these specific character requests. But you shouldn't need that. This is a game that genuinely, honestly, and I say this as a From Software fan, it needs a quest log.
It doesn't have a quest log?
No, it doesn't. Whenever you talk to someone...
Oh, that's fucked up.
Whenever you talk to someone and they say, "Hey, meet me at location Y," there's no record of that. So after 10 hours, I completely forget, oh, wait, yeah, I have to meet this person here.
Oh, my God.
I spent so much time on a wiki going, oh, wait, that dude that looked like a wolf, he wanted me to meet him somewhere. I'm going to have to go look up what his name is, look up where he wants me to meet, and then look up what I'm supposed to do there. And the thing is, a lot of people will say, oh, that's just the From Software way, right? It's supposed to be obtuse. You're not supposed to know what you're doing. But this is the first game they've made that has that level of dedicated side quests. Like I said, normally when you're dealing with NPCs in these games, they're not asking you to do specific things. So it doesn't really matter if you can't keep track of it. But in this game, you do have a lot of people asking you for very specific items to meet you in very specific locations. And to not have any way to keep track of that, it feels like an oversight. And it feels like the design of this open world game is starting to really clash with their lack of hand-holding design philosophy. And I think it's an interesting turning point where the truth is every From Software game has become a little bit more user-friendly than the last. And people that say...
This is an improvement from past games? Whoa.
Oh, significantly. And the fact that some people are like, oh, they're not supposed to hold your hand. They're supposed to be difficult
every
to
time
follow.
I think to myself, maybe I should try Elden Ring. Then I find out more information and I go yeah, no, this is definitely not the game that for me.
And so that's what I think is most interesting is I think they want you to play it. They want to get you to play their games because they keep making little user-friendly decisions that would get someone like you into their game. And I don't think their whole lack of hand-holding is necessarily a grand philosophy of game design. It's not that they don't want to hold your hand. They just kind of don't know how. And in this instance with side quests, they've never made a quest log because they kind of have never had to. But if they're going to keep making open world games like this, I think they really, really need to because this design of game needs it. You can't have this many characters asking you to do this many activities and not have some way to keep track of it all.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see what their next game is like because I expect it will continue the trend and be a bit more user-friendly.
Mario Sunshine 2?
Yeah. But it also feels like they've done, by giving you this help menu for the menu items, by trying to connect similar items thematically in the menus, they're trying to help people as much as they can without a codex or without a quest log. But I feel like their next game has to add something like that. And I think it'll be interesting to see what their hardcore fans' response is because a lot of them will be like, oh, how could you add a quest log? It's supposed to be hard to follow. It's blasphemy. But I think they want to, and I think this is a turning point where if they want to keep making relatively mainstream gaming, popular gaming games, like they're gonna have to kind of take a page from Ubisoft. As much as like the hardcore fans may hate to hear it, From Software could learn a thing or two about hand-holding from Ubisoft.
Okay. So what other games have you played? Because I didn't really play hardly anything. I will say that I did download and play maybe 10 minutes of Hue, which is free on Microsoft. Sorry, it's an Xbox Game Pass game. And I downloaded it because it looked interesting, and I haven't even started it. So, I mean, I should say I started it, but not enough where I could actually say what I think. So I'm just going to leave that for a future date. But did you play any other games?
I have almost finished a game called The Pedestrian. I talked about this briefly a week ago. And what's interesting about this game is, so there are some puzzle games that make things more and more complicated by like introducing new mechanics. So that every level is like, oh, I've got to kind of relearn what to do here because there's a new twist to things. This one has some of that. Like it's always introducing new ways for me to interact with the signs because, back up a bit, it's a puzzle game where you play as like the character on a men's and women's bathroom sign, and you're going through stop signs or various street signs solving puzzles. So like you can connect one sign to the other, but then you have to move the signs around, like vertically, horizontally, connect them, reconnect them, move from one to the other in a way that's puzzling to do. What this game does to like make the puzzles harder is it adds steps, basically. So in the beginning, you have like two signs, and you go to one, you flip a switch, and then you go back to the other one to go through the exit. The next level adds a third sign. Next level adds a fourth sign and a second switch. As you get deeper and deeper into it, there are some areas where the camera zooms out to show you what the whole level is like, and there's like 8 different signs, 3 switches, 4 jump pads, a box, and a circuit. And I'm like, what the fuck is this mess? What am I supposed to do here? But that's not necessarily a bad thing, because it's like a glut of information all at once, and that makes it kind of intimidating. But when you look closely at it, you start realizing, oh, okay, I need the box to get to the circuit. So box has to come before circuit. I need to flip switch A to switch flip B. That means A has to come before B. And so you start piecing together the specific sequence of events you need to do to get through the level. And then the puzzle becomes, how do I execute on that sequence of events? And so it's the kind of game where when you enter a level, my first thought is, this is just a glut of information. I don't know what's going on. This is a mess. But then you kind of slowly bring order to the chaos in a way that's really satisfying. So yeah, in this video, this is a fun one because you can travel through these doorways, but you can only travel one way. So he's trying to organize them so that he falls through one, jumps to a sign, falls through another door, jumps to another sign, falls down, jumps to another door, and does that like 3 times in quick succession in order to avoid these laser beams in this vertical drop.
Oh, that's what those are. They're laser beams. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this man, I see that that game looks cool. It's a great idea. I love the way it looks. I can see that is a full-on controller chucking frustrating game. That will cost me at least a controller and a window. That's why I'm staying away from it.
I will say, like, I think I'm at the last puzzle, and the last puzzle does like escalate the scope of things in a way that's really meta and really cool, and I wasn't expecting. But like the whole game is you running around on these signs with this fancy background, and the final sequence of puzzles, like escalates that to a degree that feels like a good proper ending should. You know, it feels as climactic and spectacle as a puzzle can. For a game that's all about staring at a screen. It manages to like go, oh wow, this is cool, for the final sequence, which is a nice surprise.
Nice. All right, so shall we move on to the news, because we have a lot of news to talk about. All right,
that's all I've been doing.
So
Alan in the chat said he's been playing Curious Expedition 2, which, yeah, that was one of my favorites. That was the one where I had a zombie pygmy. I adopted a dinosaur as a pet, and he ate one of my explorers.
Oh, yes, I remember that. What was the name of that game?
Curious Expedition.
On what platform is it?
I think it's on all of them.
Okay. I will have to hit that. Vice says, I feel so many types of gross at the same time right now. You're probably not wrong saying that they need to learn from you. Ubisoft feels wrong in so many ways. Yeah.
Like, I don't want them to copy it exactly, but like, I'm getting the sense that they want to be more accessible, and at a certain point, they're gonna have to like make that jump and just add some sort of log, some sort of, hey, we will automatically keep track of this information for you.
Yeah. And let's see. Mr. Maynard. Hi, Mr. Maynard. Yes, you are alive. Mr. Maynard has been one of my oldest and dearest internet friends, podcasting friends since way back. And it's nice to see you here. And he says, yeah, this looks something like Lode Runner.
Yeah.
By the way, hold on a second. I'll be right back. I have something to show Mr. Maynard. Stand by.
Okay. Hi. Yeah, it does look a lot like Lode Runner. And AC Wraith in chat said, I love the adventures of Lolo back in the NES days. I don't know the adventures of Lolo. That's kind of before my time. Like, the NES is definitely before my era. I grew up with a PlayStation, so I've heard of Crosscode. I've never tried it though, so I don't quite know how frustrating it is as a puzzle game.
So, Mr. Maynard, I have something to show you. Because I haven't seen you. I haven't seen you in probably, 6 or 7 years? So, I don't know if you remember. You weren't even on the podcast. This predates you, Nick. It's when I went to Tokyo, to the Tokyo Game Show. And I asked Mr. Maynard, is there anything that you need and you'd like? And he's like, get me a copy of Race Driving. And I went all around Akihabara to the game stores. I still have the copy of Race Driving that I bought for 500 yen.
Wow.
For the Sega Saturn. See, I still have the
So,
code.
in 6 years, you've never gotten it to him?
Oh, it's been longer than that. When did I go to Tokyo Game Show?
Yeah, it was definitely.
That was when I was Hawks and Commander Tim. So it's got to be. It was probably 2009. So we're talking. Yeah, I still have that. He's like, "Oh my God, you still have it?" Yes. Why you haven't picked it up?
Why have you not just shipped it to him?
He has to come pick it up. I did. I got it to Tokyo. He needs to get it from San Francisco to wherever he is. I forget where you are.
He has Texas? To do the last mile.
Yeah, you have to do the last mile.
you did the
yep, 12 years ago
over the ocean.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, it's this. I got it from something trader. You can see it's all in Japanese, but yeah. Still sitting on my shelves.
It's also impressive that you knew exactly where it was.
Well, it's because it's with my video games. I know exactly where all my video games are. Exactly. If you ask me where my bills are, somewhere in this stack of papers here. But yeah, I know I've got my priorities.
Good priority.
He says, "Oh, so you want me to fly from St. Louis to San Francisco?" Like Nick said, you got to make the effort for the last mile. Yep, there's the backside of it. All right, so let me go put that back.
Could you even connect a Sega Saturn to a modern TV? I feel like you'd have to go through quite a bit of rigmarole just to get that game to still play. Wow.
What did you ask?
Like, connecting a Sega Saturn to a modern TV is no small feat nowadays.
Yeah, he's Mr. Maynard is not a problem.
Sega Saturn imports. Okay.
That's his thing.
Okay.
He's not he's all about, he is the old school gamer. In fact, I think you did a show on GameHounds when we were doing we had 2 shows a week, and the second show was just a bunch of guest stuff. And I think you did old school. Wasn't old school? Weren't you? You did something, but yeah, he's like the old school gamer. He says you have to use an upscaler and all that. If you ever are interested in that information, feel free to reach out to Mr. Maynard. He knows exactly what he's doing.
I feel like it's getting to the point. I'm getting old enough now that I'm getting nostalgic for the retro games of my youth, which is like PlayStation 1 games. It's like, I want to go play the original Resident Evil, not this remake bullshit. I want the original.
You've hit that age, have you?
I want to play Wild 9 again, which is like a side-scrolling action game. Or what were the other PlayStation games I had? Oh, Parasite Eve. Yeah, that's one I could definitely go back to. That was a cool one.
Mr. Maynard in the chat room says, "Do it, do it, do it." AC Ray says, "I had that GameShark-like device that did cheat codes, added RAM, and then let imports be played. I still have my GameShark for my PlayStation. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I still have my GameShark somewhere. See that? I don't know where it is. It's in a box. I know where the box is. I don't know if it's still in the box because I've cleaned out that box a number of times because it's got so much crap in it.
You might have the GameShark for the PlayStation, but do you still have the PlayStation?
Yes.
Okay.
I absolutely have. The only console that I still don't own that I've purchased is the console I gave to you, which was the Wii U that I gave to you for free on the condition that you buy Evolve.
And you know what? I still have that console.
See? So it still exists. I know where my console is.
That's true. You know where your video games are. They're in my closet.
Right. One of them is in your closet, and the rest of them are in my basement or over on the shelves that are next to all. Because I literally have them all stacked up on my shelves.
The only thing I ever played on it was Little Inferno.
The only thing I ever played on it was Little Inferno. It's a great console for Little Inferno and kind of nothing else. And I remember that I had the Wii U because I bought, what was the game that was really popular when it first came out?
Wii Sports?
No, not the Wii, the Wii U.
Zombie U?
Zombie U. I got it with Zombie U. And I remember because that was the week that I had my shoulder redone.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And I couldn't play it because I couldn't lift this. My shoulder was just, in a sling like this. And it was that way for 6 weeks. And I couldn't
lift the controller up to move it around.
Right. And then use controllers. And I couldn't put my hand on both sides of the controller and be able to see. So, Little Inferno worked fine because I could use my hand on the, I could still have my arm like that, but, play it like this. Yeah, shoulder reconstruction is no fun. You have to sleep sitting up for 6 weeks. I remember the first time I lay down, every cell of my body was singing when I actually laid down on my back. And then the first time I actually rolled over onto my side, it's like everything in my body went after Because by the time I actually was able to roll over my shoulders, probably 10 weeks, 12 weeks before I could actually lie on that side. And I laid on that side. And it's like, oh my God, that feels good. Bitter says shoulder damage from doing 10,000 Hail Hydras a day. Yep. So, can we do news now, please? Please.
Sure. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Good. All right. Fine. Then
I wasn't the one that took us off track.
let's hit the news.
I think.
This is the GameHounds news, the news, views, and commentary for the week in gaming with Gamer Edie and Nick DiNicola. And our first item is...
let's just get into the Activision Blizzard shit show. There's a couple news items.
There's a couple news items, and one of them is much shittier than the other. Oh my God.
One of them's actually good news.
One of them's good news. One of them is just so fucking upsetting. It's hard to wrap your head around. All right, so this week in the Activision Blizzard shit show, Nick, take it away. Do we want to? We'll ask the chat room. Chat room. Do you want to start with the shitty, upsetting story, or do you want to hear the good news first? It's up to you. I will let you make the call on that. Because there is one story that is so greasy. Talk about making you feel icky on the inside. This will make you feel icky. And then the other one is kind of nice. All right, so we got some things. Mr. Rainer says, "Yay, Activision shit." Blizzard Bitter says the shit. He wants the shitty story.
Okay. So
all right, so we'll do the shitty story first.
So what's important to know is that between 2016 and 2019, an executive at Facebook named Sheryl Sandberg was dating Bobby Kotick. During that time, one of Kotick's ex-girlfriends filed a restraining order against him. And Sheryl Sandberg used her clout at Facebook to suppress stories about that harassment, that restraining order, from being posted.
Oh,
to
it wasn't
Facebook.
just in the company. It was his own harassment of a person,
Yes.
of an ex-girlfriend.
She's
Holy
basically protecting her
shit.
boyfriend at the time from bad news.
Oh, that's even ickier.
Mm-hmm.
That is way ickier. Oh, God, that does make me... Oh, I need a shower after that story. Has anybody asked Sheryl Sandberg about this? Or
She has not responded to a request from Kotaku at this time, but apparently Facebook is reviewing her behavior to see if she violated company policy.
What is her position at Facebook?
She is, I guess now at Meta, she's in charge of ops, which I don't know exactly how Facebook is now.
I'm looking her up on
organized.
LinkedIn. I'm not doxing her. I'm just looking up to see what her title is. Please do not go after Sheryl Sandberg.
She's running ops at Meta, but she's also, what makes this even worse, or even better, I guess you could say, even juicier.
She's the chief operating. She's the COO.
She's also like a symbol of like feminism in the tech workplace. She wrote a book called Lean In that's all about empowering.
I knew
women
the
in
name.
workplace.
Oh my God, it's that woman. It's Lean In Woman. I knew the name. Holy crap. Oh, this is bad for Bobby. This is so much worse for her. Holy shit. She's like a founding mother of women in tech. Oh my God. Oh my God. That's Sheryl Sandberg.
Mm-hmm.
I knew the name was really familiar, but wow. Oh, that is so messed up. Oh, if this is true, it is obviously not good for Bobby. But nobody expects Bobby to be anything but an asswipe.
It's like, this is just making him look like...
It is career killing. It is blacklist worthy of Sheryl Sandberg. Oh, wow. So where did the story come from?
I think this came from the Wall Street Journal. And Kotaku obviously reported on it. The Daily Mail has picked it up and asked, reached out to Sandberg about it. But yeah, I've heard about other podcasts talk about this, and they brought up an interesting point that dirt like this is probably only coming out because Microsoft is buying Activision, because that level of acquisition puts a target on Activision and Microsoft to be like, hey, let's dig into this company to see what we can find. Because otherwise, who would think to link these dots between Activision and Facebook? But yeah, because of this, someone at the Wall Street Journal did, and kudos to them for exposing this.
Yeah, according to Wikipedia, it says that May 2019, it was reported that Sandberg and Kotick had a split after 3 years of dating. And then she announced her engagement less than a year later to Facebook, on Facebook to the CEO, Kelton Global CEO Tom Bernthal. Oh, this is bad. This is bad for her. Bad. Oh. So yeah, icky. So now let's cleanse our palates a bit with a slightly better story. This week, Raven Software got the okay from the National Labor Relations Board to vote on unionizing. So this was reported by Polygon. The NRLB ruled on Friday that on the 22nd that the 21-person team of Raven Software that we're looking to see if they could be unionized, that they are. They want to try. There's a 21-person team working on the unionization. There's 230 people at Raven Software. And then Blizzard had sought to challenge the QA workers' attempt to unionize earlier this year. The NRLB said that they are absolutely within their rights and they support it, because this is the federal agency that makes rulings on whether they did the unionizing, pre-unionization stuff properly, and if they are eligible to vote for a union. The NLRB says that they're going to have their ballots mailed out on April 29th. What's today? Middle of next week.
Yeah.
And all ballots being tallied will be tallied over the next month and be done on May 23rd. And if a majority of the eligible workers vote yes, then they will move into contract negotiations with Blizzard, Activision Blizzard. So, of course, Blizzard, once again, offers their little veiled statement of you should not have done that, kids. They said, quote,
we support what you're doing.
We support what you're doing, but you have to realize you're only hurting yourself.
We support you, but you shouldn't have done that. It was a bad idea and you're bad people for doing it.
Right.
But we like you still.
Right. So here's the actual quote. Being read in the spirit it was intended. While we respect the NLRB process, we are disappointed that a decision could be disappointed that a decision that could significantly impact the future of our entire studio will be made by fewer than 10% of our employees. We believe a direct relationship with team members is the best path to achieving individual and company goals. We are reviewing legal opinions or options regarding a potential appeal. But on Twitter, the union called the Game Workers Alliance did thank those that have supported them so far. They said, quote, we are so proud to announce that the NLRB ruled that our unit is eligible for election. Thank you to everyone supporting our campaign since our initial strike up until this very moment. Time for democracy. So yeah, that's the good story, is that there may actually, it doesn't come near as close, but at least it's a good thing for the Raven people, because you love unions or hate unions, unions are there for a reason. It is to keep workers from being really abused. It's the reason why you have 5-day work weeks and why children are not allowed to, like you can't hire children to work in factories, is because of unions. So they're not 100% good. They're also absolutely necessary. And this is a perfect example of why it's absolutely necessary. So I'm very glad for them that that's happening.
Yeah.
Mr. Maynard says, wah, wah, wah. Let them unionize. We always hear about the time crunching and the time away from home, the poor ethics, the poor working conditions, I'm assuming he's saying. Yeah. And the, handsy people, the handsy bros on their cube crawls. So, yeah, that's this week in the Activision shit show. Okay, so another story that is a big one that...
For Activision Blizzard?
No, not for Activision Blizzard.
Oh, okay.
This is Bungie. But this is when the the unstoppable force is about to hit the immovable object. So this is kind of a little bit of a long story, but it comes down to the fact that Bungie has filed suit over fake DMCA takedowns, and in the process of it has ripped YouTube a new one about their DMCA process. So this is a shit storm that is brewing, that is got in its direct sites some people that impersonated Bungie and had and issued a bunch of fake takedown notices. But in the process, it is shedding. Well, anybody who's been on YouTube, anybody who's listened to YouTube creators knows that the DMCA process on YouTube is fucking broken. But nobody's been able to do anything about it because nobody's been big enough to have, lawyers on retainer or a legal department to do anything about it. Now, not so much. So here's what happened. Last month, Bungie, the real Bungie, issued a bunch of legitimate takedown notices through their agent. The agent they use to file these complaints on the YouTube platform. It's a company called CSC Global. Now, CSC Global doesn't just make these takedown notices on their own. Bungie Legal goes through the takedown notice, makes a decision, and then when they decide that a takedown notice, a copyright infringement has happened, they instruct CNC Global, give them a list, say these are the ones that need to come down, go file these for us, and you go submit for them. So these were real takedown notices made between March 2nd and March 16th. The very next day, YouTube got a whole nother batch of takedown notices from a different email account, because in order to take down to file a takedown notice, you have to have a Gmail account. You can't do it from your own company email. You have to have a Gmail account do it. So this Gmail account, this other Gmail account that was not the same as the legitimate Gmail account that was being used by Bungie's agent, but sort of enough like it, they get another batch of takedown notices from that not real email account, claiming that they are Bungie and that they're copyright strikes. Except these were fraudulent takedown notices being done by someone who was faking being a member of an employee of CSC Global, the agent.
Do we know what videos they targeted? Like, did they target specific videos?
Destiny 2 gameplay videos. And among the streamers that got these fraudulent takedown strikes, my name is Bai, who's got 966,000 subscribers. Aztec Ross with 549,000 subscribers. They even issued a strike on Destiny 2's own YouTube channel, Bungie's own Destiny 2 YouTube channel. So this started happening, and the streaming community was in a fucking uproar because these were not only legitimate, like not copyright infringement at all. These are people that actually partner with Bungie. with, almost 1 million subscribers. You're partnering with Bungie. You are in Bungie's good graces when you're streaming Destiny 2 and you're doing it to 966,000 subscribers. So, the community went to social media and started like, what the fuck is going on? One of them wrote, quote, "I'm scared to make new Destiny videos alone, let alone keep the ones that I've already made up. And I'm just worried about my channel that it's gone forever because of this." Because some of these people, this was their third strike. And so their channels were shut down. Another person on social media said, "This is the type of thing that alienates a dev company from their fans. It's damaging the community, and I don't understand, to be honest, because they thought they just see a takedown notice came from Bungie." So Bungie checks their records, and they were like, "No, we didn't issue these. Did you send us a takedown notice? Did you, goes to legal. Did you say to take these down?" And legal's like, "We didn't say it." So then they go to CSC Global. CSC's like, "We didn't issue these." So then Bungie tries to talk to YouTube. And if you know anything about trying to talk to YouTube, it is maddening. Especially when it comes to DMCA takedowns, it is absolutely maddening because you can't reverse a DMC takedown from any other email than the original email from which the takedown was issued. It was a fake email address. Even though the legitimate person comes back and says, "Hey, we're legitimately Bungie, we didn't issue these, please reverse them." They couldn't because it's like, well, it has to come from this fraudster's email. Sorry, that's our policy.
We have to have him reverse it.
We have to have him reverse it because it was made from this guy. This guy has to send it. It's like, that guy's impersonating us. We don't have control. These are impersonators. And they're like, "Sorry, you might want to check with the forums, with the help forums." So yeah, Bungie, not happy, couldn't get a hold of YouTube, had to pull unbelievable amount of strings, had to go to their like community content manager to go to YouTube's, his connections. They had to go all the way up the chain. They had to go through legal in order to send a legal notice from Bungie to YouTube's legal department in order to get anybody to answer back. And it was just this big circular. In fact, I forget the name of the way they called it, but this circular method of they'd say, "We need help. You need to file a ticket." So they'd file a ticket. The ticket would come back. "You need to check with the help desk." So they go to the help desk and they say, "We need help." They're like, "You need to file a ticket." And it was just this big circle that never got anything done. So it took Bungie, a multi-billion-dollar corporation, almost 2 weeks to restore these streamers' accounts that had them shut down and to reverse these copyright strikes. In the meantime, the community got like pitchforks and torches. They are furious because they think that this is real. And Bungie, all they want to know, they reversed the ones that they knew about because of their complaints on social media. But one of the things that YouTube would not give them is, all right, what are all the accounts that were given a strike from this fake email? And YouTube says, "Sorry, we can't give you that information without a court order."
Huh. So is that what the suit is?
So Bungie sued Does 1 through 12 for all of this fraudulent stuff. And it's even bigger. It goes even worse. The guys actually went to the streamers and said, "Ha ha ha, you got your account stolen." And it just gets way more convoluted. They actually tried to create a false flag, trying to say that, "Was your stuff fraudulently taken down? Well, I'm the person who did it, and there's another person who's doing it too." And they named the legitimate guy who took down the first group. And so he tried to batch them all together so they all look like frauds. It's incredibly convoluted and fucked up. Bottom line, they filed the suit in the U.S. District Court of Washington. Bungie is charging a ton of things against these does. copyright infringement, business defamation, violation of the Consumer Protection Act, breach of contract. The copyright infringement alone, Bungie is asking for in their complaint $150,000 per takedown notice. So ultimately, now that they have the court order, they filed the complaint, they will issue the subpoena to YouTube. YouTube will give them a list of all the stuff that they've taken down so they can actually clean up the mess that was made. And then on top of it, they can amend their complaint to add the extra ones. And then on top of it, they will have the names of these people who did it. So this is going to be a shitstorm. And somebody who decided to throw a temper tantrum and got butthurt because they had a legitimate takedown notice taken against them, according to the complaint, it was for using the original soundtrack in a non-okay way, not in a copyright violating way.
Oh, is that, and that's why someone mimicked Bungie to get the video taken down?
Right. Well, no, it was the original, Bungie filed legitimate takedown notices because people had used in their videos the original soundtrack in a way that was not compliant with their user agreement. That was that first, there were 41 in that first group that were taken down legitimately. And then the next day, somebody in that group got butthurt and then started to file all the other ones and then tried to group all 41 of them together and say, they're all fake. So it threw a hand grenade into the entire Bungie community, and a lot of people don't know who to believe or what's true at this point, which is one of the reasons why they're going after business defamation. Yeah. And the way that Bungie is describing it in it's real, not unreasonable to say the way that Bungie is describing it in the suit is, they say it's immeasurable. The amount of damage that was done was immeasurable. Now, on the plus side, if this can happen to Bungie with YouTube being a complete shit show of trying to get a hold of them, then maybe YouTube needs to fix its fucking process. And now that Bungie is in the process of actually being the 800-pound gorilla with a lawyer, that this might actually go all the way through. And that maybe YouTube will at some point not allow, because you can file a DMCA as anyone against anybody. And it is almost impossible for you to get that strike taken off of that person, or that person to get that strike taken off. That is just the nature of it. And YouTube has made this process super easy for them, but full of holes that are just ripe for abuse.
Feels like they need a little bit more authorization of maybe have someone sign up to YouTube, has a specific copyright, I own copyrights, so this is me, I'm an authorized account.
You're an authorized account.
Yeah.
Right.
If a claim comes from someone other than me, it's not legit.
Only way that they legitimize the use of a DMCA takedown is when you're filling out the form saying, I want to submit a DMCA complaint for copyright violations. There is one checkbox. All you have to do, the checkbox says, are you the authorized agent and the original copyright holder of this? Are you indeed the holder of this copyright? And all you have to do is click the box, yes. That's it. That is their entire process. So, if you are interested, in fact, I pulled it up. Let me stop my screen here. I meant to share this, but I got into the story so deeply. Is this it? No, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. Where is it? Where is it? There we go. There is the full complaint. If you want to read a very, very interesting story, the full complaint is available online. You can find it super easy to find. But pretty much you can hear the whole story with more details than I could possibly give you right now. Yeah, here's an example. This is the copyright strikes that people got. And you can see that it says right here, content removed by Bungie Incorporated. It wasn't Bungie. But if you want to read from, let me get back up to, I'll even tell you where to start. Not parties. It's going to be background. But yeah, there's a particular part of it. Let's see. The introduction. Venue. Background. Okay. Background. From here on out, if you read just the stuff that's in yellow, it'll give you, I mean, you can read all of it if you want, but the stuff in yellow kind of gives you the fast version of the story. And yeah, it goes on to all of the details about when it happened, all 41 early March takedowns related to music from Destiny 2's original soundtrack. And then what happened, who got, and my name is Biff is the name of the one with 966,000. Who got busted, the emails that they used, the whole 9 yards. And then what happened afterwards when these guys came back to the community and tried to essentially lump their own legitimate takedown notices into their own and taking claim. They actually call it in the complaint the manifesto of these guys of why they did it. So this is going to be somebody's mom is going to be really angry.
Yeah. This is the kind of thing that a 12-year-old does, thinking, "Oh yeah, haha, this is going to be fun," or like, yeah. "Oh, you took down my video. I'm going to get revenge.
I'm going to get my revenge." And so I really hope that somebody's mom and dad have a really good homeowners insurance rider, but I doubt that it's going to be able to cover the amount of damages that these guys will when they get, because they're going to get caught. YouTube has their information, and if YouTube doesn't have their information, their ISP provider does. They will, and Bungie's angry enough and has had enough damage that they will take this all the way through to the very end. They will find them. They will sue the shit out of them. And I'm saying them because I think it's one person, probably. But on top of it, YouTube, if you want to read one company ripping into another company, you could go through when Bungie tried to actually get these things reversed. They don't pull punches about their opinion of YouTube. So it may very well be that YouTube ends up getting sued because this process is so obviously and blatantly ripe. I mean, it's made for exactly this kind of fraud and abuse that can do massive damage to a company. And Bungie can now demonstrate huge damage, especially once they secure once they secure an award on the does. Then we have an amount of damages that is determined by the court. Then Bungie can go after YouTube and say, you created something that you knew could be used to do this kind of damage. Now we're going to you after you for the big money. Because you're running something you know to be a fraud. Because everybody in the community, every small and medium-sized creator has been complaining about this process for years, and YouTube has done nothing. This is the equivalent of you knew your coffee was incredibly dangerous, and then when somebody finally has their genitals burned off by it, you're going to get a $36 million lawsuit against you because you knew it was dangerous and you continued to do it. So yeah, thank you for that link, for the scroll down for the PDF on Torrent Freak. So thank you. My name is Beth. Thank you for correcting me. I was reading off my notes, and my notes were auto-corrected by my stupid autocorrect. So, and next item is...
Wow. Well, after that...
I know. It's a good story, huh? I came across that one. I'm like, oh, tell me more. Where's my popcorn?
I don't know how I can follow that up. So I'll just have some nice, fun little stories. I guess PAX East was happening this week. Last weekend. And during it, Gearbox had an event, and at the end of an event, they announced a new Borderlands game.
Really?
It's a sequel to the Telltale game, Tales from the Borderlands. But what's interesting is this one is not going to be developed by Telltale. or like the new revived Telltale. I'm not sure what they're doing, but this is going to be developed by Gearbox in-house. It's going to have a whole new cast of characters. So the old cast is not returning, at least not yet. There may be cameos. And it's just kind of a big deal because a lot of people really liked Tales from the Borderlands. It was one of Telltale's more critically acclaimed IP games, and it's just finally getting a sequel. Although it will be interesting to see, coming from a different developer and a different group of writers, what this game turns out to be. Because the first game was very much that Telltale choose-your-own-adventure style of game. And if this is being developed in-house by Gearbox, will they keep that format, or will they make it something a bit more action-y?
I kind of like the old format the way it was, honestly. It's don't fix it if it's not broke. I'm looking for the trailer, if they offered a trailer on it. Did they?
I don't think they did. No, they just had an announcement.
Okay. Yeah, I just have the original Tales of the Borderlands. I don't think that they need to fix anything off of that. Tales from the Borderlands was just fine the way it is. I think it had a nice mix of gameplay and story. I don't think that it. I don't think that you need to put much more shine on that. It was such a good game, such a good game, and it was in a lot of ways it scratched the RPG. It's scratched the itch that I needed to be scratched from BioWare games. It felt like a BioWare game, but made by Telltale.
And what's also cool is that apparently it will be coming out later this year.
Did they have a
yeah, they didn't have an exact date.
They just said 2021.
They just said later this year.
No, that's all right. I'm all right with that.
That's surprisingly soon.
Yeah. Anybody in the chat room have any advice? What would you like to see out of a Telltale? Oh, there you go. Thanks for the link for the thing. Nick couldn't find it, but AC Wraith could. He's so good.
I wasn't looking.
But they had a Twitter announcement on it as well. AC Mr. Rainer said, "Oh, that's a pretty good analogy. They're Edie, the McDonald's lawsuit with the hot coffee." Yeah, very much the same thing. You knew it was dangerous, and you kept doing it until somebody was really, really, really hurt by it, and now you're going to pay the consequences. And it may very well be that, like the McDonald's lawsuit, because the reason why the McDonald's coffee lawsuit award was so large, because it was a half day of coffee sales for McDonald's. This may very well be they do the same thing, where it's a half day of income from YouTube videos, or a half day of the income that they get from advertising. They lose a half day. And that could be really big. With as much money as they have coming in, that's a lot of money. So expect a very large lawsuit against YouTube by Bungie in the near future. I'm going to let you do the next one, because I know you've already done one, but I'm going to let you do the next one because I got to go to the bathroom. I don't know if you could see me jiggling, but this is why I cannot drink a glass of water before the show. I'm an idiot.
Okay. I'm not sure what the next one is, but I've got a couple.
That's what I mean. Go ahead with whatever you have for the next thing. I'm going to go,
Okay.
Get some relief.
This one.
What is it going to be? So I can put the trailer up.
Outriders. Outriders expansion is coming, which is really cool to hear. I know that game, Square Enix, which has notoriously said that, our games are disappointing sales-wise, actually said that, hey, this game is has sold really well, and they saw it as the start of a new franchise. So that's really cool. And in keeping with that kind of success, the game is going to get an expansion coming up. Let's see. I think it might be later this year. Unfortunately, the expansion itself won't come to Game Pass. I think one of the reasons that I know me and Edie got really into Outriders was because it was on Game Pass. And so, the barrier to entry was super low. We could just pop it in and try it out. But this expansion will cost some money, which seems fair. And it looks like it's going to kind of pick up where the base game left off. It's going to add some challenge tiers to the game, which will now be called Apocalypse tiers. It looks like the first 15 Apocalypse tiers are exclusive to World Slayer. Oh, no. There's going to be some addition to the base game. So people that just play the regular Outriders will get 15 new Apocalypse tiers, so 15 new levels of harder difficulty. But there's all the way up to tier 40. And so everything from 16 to 40 is going to be exclusive to people that buy the expansion, which in addition to like all the new gear and stuff that comes with the expansion, that stuff's going to be unique.
So this news, because I had it on mine as well, as soon as I read it, I was like, oh yeah, Outriders. I really liked Outriders, except for the multiplayer. And it's so funny.
Well, it wasn't just the multiplayer. It was specifically like the end game.
The end game, the grind.
Mm-hmm.
The grind at the end of the game that had so much potential, and yet it was just grindy as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that there was, I think as I recall it, my issue also with it was a difficulty curve that you just never could get good enough gear to be able to do one of the end game's missions. You couldn't do it. You couldn't do the mission without the gear, but you couldn't get the gear until you did the mission. Mm-hmm. So you were in this like loop of like just beating your head up against a wall and losing and losing and losing and losing over and over and over. But I really the whole game up until that point I really enjoyed, and I'm really surprised that the campaign did not get as good reviews as I thought that it should have.
Yeah,
gotten.
I thought it was absolutely totally.
Everybody said that the multiplayer was great, but the the end game multiplayer was great, but the game itself was not so great. It's like, no, the game multiplayer actually at the end game was the worst part of the game, in my opinion.
So what's also cool is they're adding in new class trees, and so one of the things about that game is like once you hit max level, that was it. Like you stopped, your character didn't really grow, you didn't get any new abilities. They're adding 2 new trees, and you'll be able to level those up with the expansion progress. So like you're actually going to be able to go through these new trees with your current character, right? You're just kind of adding new levels. In addition to that, all the new gear will have a chance to drop as an ascension item, which adds a 3rd mod slot.
Oh,
right now,
nice.
all the legendary equipment comes with like 2 mod slots. Mm-hmm. This one will have a 3rd. So it's just, another way to tweak your character and make them cool. So that's nice. It's a lot of like really in the weeds additions, like real technical mechanical stuff. But it sounds like it's technical mechanical stuff that is adding to the character creation and character, developing your own Outrider character.
The question is, and I haven't been back to Outriders in a really long time because I got so frustrated I walked away from it and then I forgot about it. But I really loved it in all other aspects. If they keep that same, one of the biggest things I remember about, and I'm having to like think back a lot to my gameplay of it. One of the biggest problems with it was to fill those slots. you had to really grind a lot of metal, I believe it was, a specific kind of metal. You had to grind resources, use those resources that had a conversion ratio to get another kind of resource to actually be able to buy any kind of upgrades. And it was really, really hard to get enough of the resources that you needed in order to buy even the most basic upgrades.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm glad that they're doing it, and it makes me want to go back to playing Outriders to see if it's any better than it was. However, I don't remember how to play the game anymore. So you know how that is.
I mean, you point and shoot,
right? And they're going to be it's going to be released at the end of next month, so which is kind of nice. A lot of people said that this is the one game that isn't a live stream game or a live service game that should have been a live service game. But it makes me want to go back to see if it got any better. But I might have to actually go back and play, go redo some of the early missions to remind myself how to do it.
You just kind of go and replay them again on a high challenge tier for your character that's now really leveled up, and you can kind of go through the game anew, has kind of a new game plus.
I literally core dumped all that information. I barely remember. I just remember really enjoying it, but I barely even remember the storyline. I made room for more important stuff.
Yeah, I vaguely remember it.
I know you really liked the campaign. I really liked the campaign.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess now the multiplayer, because that was the other thing, is the multiplayer was broken. You couldn't really get into a multiplayer. If you it was not very good, but I might have to go back. So let's see. My next item is, let's see. I've already talked about that. Remember we talked last week about the new PS Plus system? Mm-hmm. And there's going to be multiple tiers, with the top tier that is going to have access to PS1, PS2, PS3, and PSP games.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have our first leak because we didn't know what games those would be, and there was general acceptance that it had to have been, first party releases. It's not going to be third party releases. It's going to at least start with the first party releases on those. Over in South Korea, like every other country, they have an agency for rating game releases. And their organization is called the Game Rating and Administration Committee of Korea. They have rated 4 different siphon filter games for the PS4 and PS5. 2 of them are PS1 games. Another 2 are PS2 and PSP games. So it looks like these are the games that are going to be coming to PlayStation, because they wouldn't be needing to rate them for the PS4 and the PS5 if they weren't coming out for the PS Plus top tier. So Siphon Filter.
So what?
Siphon Filter 2. Go ahead.
What makes people think this is coming out specifically for the PS Plus tier and not just like, hey, it's a Siphon Filter remake?
Only because these fit it's not a Siphon Filter remake. We know that it's not a Siphon Filter remake. They have taken the PS1, PS2, and PSP games from back in 1999, and they have resubmitted them for release on the PS4 and the PS5.
Okay. So this isn't like an HD remake package of these games.
No, they've rated them individually as is for playability on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 for ratings, because many of these, the ratings didn't apply back in 1999 when Siphon Filter 1 came out. So yeah, Siphon Filter 1, the original one that was from 1999 for the PS1, is one of them that was rated. Siphon Filter 2, which was in 2000, and that was on, that's also PS1. Siphon Filter Dark Mirror for the PS2 and the PSP was on that list. Siphon Filter, Logan's Shadow, which was 2007 for the PSP, and then eventually came to the PS2 3 years later in 2010. And then there were a couple of missing games in that lineup. Siphon Filter 3 and Siphon Filter The Omega Strain are the two other games in the 6-game series that were not on that list.
Did they happen to come out for PlayStation 3?
I believe they. I don't know. Actually, I don't know. Well, I think they did come out for the PlayStation 3. And there's no indication of why they weren't included, or maybe they might be on a list in the future. But
I mean, it might just be because PlayStation 3 games are really, really hard to. They have to be streamed. They can't be ported. Because of that good old cell processor in the PS3.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that any of these have to be. I mean, isn't the top tier that you can stream these games?
Yes, it is, and that's why it is. PS3 games are only included in that top tier because that's the only way you can play them.
Right. So I don't know, but they weren't included. No indication why. We don't know.
Logan's Shadow did come out for PlayStation 2. Mm-hmm. Oh wait, the Omega Strain you said. Oh no, Omega Strain was PlayStation 2.
Omega Strain was PlayStation 2 and Siphon Filter 3 are the two games that were missing off the list.
Oh yeah, Siphon Filter was PlayStation. Man, they put 3 games out on the PlayStation 1. I remember playing Siphon Filter. See, there's that nostalgia going up again. Well, I remember Siphon Filter.
Mm-hmm. So yeah. No, is that something that would make you get that top tier for PlayStation Plus?
Not really. Like any retro game, it's the kind of thing I would play for 10 minutes, go, I remember this. This was neat. And then stop.
Right. So, next item.
I know you had one about Star Wars.
Oh, yeah, I can hit that one. There's a new Star Wars game that is now going to become out. Become out. English second language. Skydance. New Media. That is the company that is helmed by Amy Hennig, who we all know and love from Uncharted. And it's also helmed by EA veteran Julian Beek. They have announced they are working with Lucasfilm Games to develop a new Star Wars game. They say that the game's going to be, quote, a richly cinematic action adventure.
So it sounds like the thing she was making for EA that got canceled.
Right, exactly. So yeah, they're doing that game with their own studio, not the EA game version of the game. They said that it's going to have an original story that is in the it's an original story in the EA universe and EA franchise, or Star Wars franchise. Hennig said, quote, I've often described how seeing Star Wars in 1977 essentially rewired my 12-year-old brain, shaping my creative life and future indelibly. I'm elated to be working with Lucasfilm Games again to tell interactive stories in this galaxy that I love. So, yeah, so this studio is only 2 years old. 3 years old. They started Skydance, a New Media, in 2019 because after she left EA. And this is going to be the second project for Skydance. Late 2021, they announced that they're in partnership with Marvel Entertainment to do a new game with an original story and a unique take on Marvel characters. So this is 2 pretty big titles in just as many years, like not even a full year now, because depending on when. No, it was late 2021. So in a matter of 6 months ish,
Amy Hennig is a big name. I imagine she knows how to put together a really convincing pitch.
Yeah. Well, all she has to say is, "Hi, I'm Amy Hennig. I would like to make a game, a game with an original story in your franchise."
I mean,
and they'll be like, Here's your contract, ma'am.
I think it also helps. Polygon has like a good rundown of all of the Star Wars games we know are in development, and how many of them have come after the break between Disney and EA, where EA used to have the exclusive license to make Star Wars games, and they kind of didn't do much with that for a decade. And the moment that both parties agreed to end that relationship early, they both agreed to break up and see other developers. And Star Wars has been out there just playing the field.
Right. And I think that that's healthy. I absolutely think that that is healthy, because you have more of a chance of getting a diverse field of games that will appeal to, something's going to appeal to everybody. Everybody sort of wants to play a Star Wars game, but everybody doesn't want to play the same Star Wars game.
Yeah, and that was kind of the problem with EA, is they made 3 Battlefront games. Oh, wait,
right, that were...
No, they made 2. They made 2, and not much else.
Yeah, I guess it was 2. Yeah, and they weren't... Well, one of them was okay, and then the second one was a loot box nightmare.
Yeah.
So neither one of them garnered a lot of love from anybody.
I know people...
The most you could say about both of those games is you got to play Darth Vader. Maybe if you got the right
I know
pack.
the second game with a bunch of updates, like, it's turned a corner and there are people that really enjoy it. But, it took a while to get to that point.
I guess Facebook is messing with our URLs that AC Wraith is putting into the chat. It says, oh my God, Facebook just corrected the game part of that URL to GameHounds. Stop frelling with my URLs, Facebook. Oh, this one, I guess, that link. One of them. Anyway. So yeah, that's I'm all about this, because Amy Hennig makes games I like. She gets me. So if you're gonna make a Star Wars game that is like for me, as opposed to I'm playing a Star Wars game for somebody else and it's all right, I'm totally down. Totally down. Take my money. So what else you got? Anything else, or is it all me at this point?
It's all you. I don't have anything else.
Let's see. Oh, here's a kind of a big one. We're kind of leaving it to the end, but this could be huge. There is a rumor about, and we love rumors. There is a rumor about that Ubisoft may be snapped up by a private equity firm or two. So, according to Bloomberg, and that Schreier always knows he's got his ducks in a row. This came out on Friday. The talks apparently are early, but they include interest from firms like Blackstone Incorporated and KKR and Company. These are 2 private equity firms that are sniffing around and in talks with Ubisoft for acquisition. Senior, current, and former Ubisoft developers have told Kotaku in recent months they think that the company is going to eventually sell because of all of their problems, the Ubisoft shit show, which is only overshadowed by the Activision shit show, but also the fact that because of the Ubisoft shit show, their stock price is not doing well. It's gone down. It's kind of ripe for acquisition right now, be it benevolent or hostile. Bloomberg says that these two firms, these are, by the way, Blackstone and KKR and Company are the 2 biggest private equity firms in the world. They have been, quote unquote, studying French business and have, quote, preliminary takeover interest in Ubisoft. They haven't entered into, quote, any serious negotiations with potential inquirers. Ubisoft hasn't, according to the article, but it's entirely possible. And there's enough breadcrumbs around that suggests that in fairly soon we may be hearing an announcement from Ubisoft that Yves Guillemot will no longer be there. Guillemot is how it's pronounced, but I
What
like calling it
is
Mo.
okay? So Ubisoft is worth about $4.6 billion, which is not that big in the grand scheme of things.
No, well, I mean, it was a lot more. It was a lot more
Well,
before their
yeah.
stock dropped. It was
right
at
now.
$110 a share in mid 2018. It's now $41 a share. So they've lost a
not.
lot of that. $41 a share? Ubisoft's 40.
I just looked.
Well,
It's
as of
eight-
Friday, it was. Let
no,
me
wait,
check.
$41. It's $8. 8.62.
Are you looking? No. Ubisoft. Let's see. Let me look up. I'm going to look on my real account. Log into my stock account. That's why I'm not showing you my screen.
So yeah, like all things considered, that's not from what
gonna
we've
make-
seen of purchases, like what money big companies are willing to throw around. I'm surprised that we're hearing about this from like equity firms and not Sony. But
Why wouldn't
I
we?
guess-
Why would we be hearing about it from Sony?
because there's always rumors that Sony's going to acquire more studios. Like, so if anything, I feel like this is just a sign that between Take-Two taking Zynga, I think it was, and then Microsoft taking Activision, Sony taking Bungie, that now equity firms are like, yo, let's get it on this.
Ubisoft.
Have you found anything yet?
Yeah, $42. You're looking at the wrong Ubisoft. There's Ubi. Well, there's Ubisoft Y stock, which is Ubisoft Entertainment. That is not. That's the one that's $8. That is not the same Ubisoft. It's sometimes they have different. What's the word I want? Different cycles of stocks being issued.
Okay,
The
do you know what that one is?
That is called UBSFF. That is the correct one. And it is up $10.50 on the day. So on Friday after the rumors came out. So yeah, that's happening. And then my next item that may be happening, rumor. It is rumor only. The other item is anybody talking in the chat room? I always have to check that. Thank you very much for that. What else do I have? Siphon Filter, National Labor Relations Board, Outriders, Skydance Media. Aha, my last item, which is kind of a fun one, maybe, depending on how you feel about The Rock.
Yeah.
It Takes Two is getting a movie. It's getting a film adaptation in an exclusive report with Variety, the magazine. Actually, technically it's a newspaper, but they call it Variety Magazine. It's officially in development at Amazon Studios. And there's a whole bunch of names that you're going to recognize that are already involved, including the people from Seven Bucks Production, Dwayne Johnson, Danny Garcia, and Hiram Garcia. So we know that Dwayne Johnson is going to be helping with the with the production of the film adaptation, but there's yet to be any confirmation of whether he's going to actually star in the film.
I remember a couple weeks ago, he was teasing that he had like a new game-related announcement to make.
Mm-hmm. But it might be that it's just his production studio that's involved with it, not necessarily him in it.
But I mean, it was still, he was teasing something about video games, and this
is
was
it. This is it. So as for the script, writers Pat Casey and Josh Miller, who did the Sonic the Hedgehog and Sonic the Hedgehog 2, they're going to be adapting the game for the screen. And they're also going to take on the role of executive producers on it. The developers of the game, Joseph Fares and Oscar Wolontis, are also going to be executive producers of the film, alongside with DJ2 producers Dimitri M. Johnson, probably related to Dwayne, and Dan Javons. So the film is set to follow. This is according to Variety. The movie is going to be following a very similar narrative of the cooperative game that was like Game of the Year and everybody loved. May and Cody are planning on a divorce, and when somehow they find themselves inside two dolls that their daughter Rose has made for them, and the result is they have to go on an adventure together to return to their original bodies. And it revolves obviously around the relationships and working together and communication and all of that.
At first, when you told me this before the show, I was like, wait, really? The Rock is involved in this? But when I thought about it, it's like, this actually seems like exactly the kind of movie he would be in. This type of family-friendly, potentially action-adventure thing. This keeps in line with, I feel, most of his other stuff. So
right.
This makes a lot of sense.
Yep. Would you go see It Takes Two movie, chat room? What do you say?
I don't know. I mean, I'm only half interested in playing the game. So I don't know what that says about my interest in the movie.
Really? You're not interested in playing the game? You wouldn't like to play it with me?
I'd like to play it with you, but I don't know.
It.
Other people. I'm not going to go download it and play it right now by myself with a stranger online.
AC Wraith provided a link to Dimitri M. Johnson. I'm assuming, because I can't open links from it, but you can, Nick.
Okay, I will.
And you can share.
But yeah, that'd be interesting.
Is Dimitri M. Johnson Dwayne Johnson's brother?
It does not necessarily look like it.
It's just another Johnson?
Yeah, I feel like he would...
my college years, just another Johnson.
I feel like it would mention that in his bio.
You'd think. You want a link? You want to share with the class?
It's just a bio on IMDb. There's nothing.
You bring it up.
Fascinating about it.
Bring it. I want to see.
Nah, I'm closing that window. There's nothing.
Fuck you. You're an asshole.
There's nothing there. There's nothing there. It's just a.
Your girlfriend's right. You're an asshole.
It's just a paragraph of text. Hey, and okay, I need to defend myself from Rainbow Six Extraction. Chris was dead. We were surrounded by monsters that were endlessly respawning. We were stuck in a corner. There was no hope for us. I made the call to run for the exit.
Nick is nowhere near me. When you are in a situation where things are constantly spawning, you need to be near someone. I go into the building and then I see Nick heading down the road and into another door that's not in my room. And I'm like, oh shit, I've just gone in. You're like, Edie, you watch your back. I'm like, that's what you're for. That's what you do. You watch my back as I go in because I've got the shotgun. I can take him out in one hit.
I saw which way you were going. You were circling around to the right to go into a building in front of us. I circled around to the left to go into the building in front of us.
Right, and then I get into the middle of the building thinking you're right behind me, and you go, fuck this, I'm out of here. And of course, then as soon as you say that, I try to run backwards, and of course, I'm swarmed because I thought you were behind me.
No, I'm not behind you.
No, you're right. You're never behind me. You've never got my back.
We were in a bad situation. You made the call to enter a hostile building.
Nick ran like a little bitch. When Nick is out, Nick is all the way out. There is no turning him around. There is no, I'm right behind you. All you have to do is pick me up. Nope, fuck that. I'm out. Fuck it. I'm gone.
Remember what game we're playing? You know that, if someone goes down, it takes you a couple seconds to respawn. And
Nick, there were four people. There were 4 people in that group. You, me. in that were privy to what was happening. You,
Oh.
me, Chris, and your girlfriend.
None
All
of them-
three of the people that weren't you said that was fucked up,
None of them.
including your girlfriend.
None of them understand when things go wrong in Rainbow Six Extraction. They go very wrong, and there is no way to recover from it.
Then you go
just have
down
to
with your
fail.
friends. You go down with your friends because we're gonna have to go
No.
back in. We're gonna have to go back in anyway. Might as well take a chance. How many times
No.
have I saved your body because I took a chance to get you out of there, and I did.
I was blinded as I ran to the exit. We were not getting out of that. There was no way to recover from that situation. And honestly, this is just a philosophical difference. I am not going to go down with the ship.
AC Ray says it probably works well when you can escape through a Nick-shaped hole in the wall. That's exactly what it is.
that
It
hole is
Nick
there.
says, "I'm out," and it leaves a Nick-shaped hole behind him.
That hole is there from the previous time I fucked out of here when things went wrong.
Nick will fuck out of everywhere at the drop of a hat. The minute it's hard, Nick's
No.
like, "Yep, I'm out. I'm out. You're
No.
on your own. Every man for
Not
himself."
hard. Hey, I'm the Elden Ring player. I embrace difficulty. I embrace challenge, but I'm not going to go down with the ship. If the two of you die, I'm not going to risk my life to save you. I'm going to bail out. I ain't going down with the ship. That's just that's pointless loyalty right there. No one's going to reward you for that kind of loyalty.
Chickens write the history books because they survive. I get it.
The game doesn't reward you for that kind of loyalty. It rewarded me for extracting.
Bitter says Nick is that guy. TM.
Mm-hmm.
True. Nick is 100% that guy.
Hey, when things go well, I've got your back. I'll be behind you, watching you.
I don't need
taking
your
out
back when
enemies.
things go well. Oh my God. When you succeed, I'll be right there next to you. Don't worry. But if things get hard, yeah, I'm out.
There's hard, right? There's hard, and then there's this situation is a clusterfuck. We're all going to die. We just need to get out. And I feel like both you and Chris are very unwilling to admit when you've crossed that line from this is hard to this is all gone to shit.
Well,
we
things
need to
don't go
bail.
tits up until they go tits up. And when things go tits up, I'm of the opinion you try to heroically get out of it.
No,
That's
I'm
way
of the
more fun
opinion-
than turn tail and running like
That-
a little
that
bitch.
That is heroically getting out of it. There's no other way to get out of it. when
No, there's
things
no,
go tits
no,
up.
it's getting out of it, but not heroically. That's my point.
Yeah. When things go tits up, there is no heroic way out of it. There's just the way out and dead.
You're the worst.
he-
You're
he
just
who-
the worst.
He who fights and runs away lives to fight another day.
You absolutely are the living embodiment of that. You have taken that way too much to heart.
It's true. It's very true. I've seen enough Viking content in the past couple of days to understand that fighting until the end very pointless.
You're liking Lost Kingdom?
I'm liking Lost Kingdom. I also happen to watch, by pure coincidence, a director I really, really like came out with a movie this weekend called The Northman, which is a Viking revenge story. And I went to go see that. And I was like, this is a perfect coincidence. Like, I'm in a Viking mode now. Part of me feels like part of me wants to start watching Vikings just to see if it covers the same time frame as The Last Kingdom.
Vikings does. No, Vikings covers at least the first few seasons the time before.
Okay.
Slightly before. Because by the Lost Kingdom, the Ragnar Lothbrok has not gone to England and beaten down England. And Ivar the Boneless is Ragnar's younger brother. So this is actually the first two seasons are significantly before that.
Okay.
Sorry. Ivan the Boneless is Ragnar Lothbrok's son. So the first several seasons are Ragnar Lothbrok, and then Ivar the Boneless comes over, and then he becomes part of it.
Okay,
and then Lost Kingdom is after Ivar.
Okay, so then I wonder if
Ivar's
Vikings Valhalla
Ivar is in Ireland at that point, and that's after all of the sacking of Mercia and everywhere else.
the name of the movie was The Northman. But then, have you seen Vikings Valhalla on Netflix? That's like the sequel series.
No. I stopped watching Vikings shortly after the death of Ivar. I think that's where we stopped watching, and then we didn't come back to it because we waited so long, and then we couldn't remember what happened. Well, Kevin couldn't remember what happened. He was definitely one of those people that when you watch a show, if it's like a big cast show with, personal politics and stuff, you needed to stop and explain. Like Game of Thrones, I absolutely spent the first season, at least the first half of the first season, him pausing it and asking me, okay, who's this guy? Why is he upset?
That's fair.
That's kind of the archetype of that type of show. And yeah.
So
but he was perfectly fine with
Walking Dead.
Walking Dead. What's another show? Breaking Bad.
Well, Breaking Bad didn't have that many characters.
No, but it was very convoluted of interconnections and personal politics and why somebody was angry at somebody else and who's this guy.
I feel like the Last Kingdom is interesting because there's not really a whole lot of characters in it to be interconnected. It's a relatively small cast of main characters.
Yes, but they do a really good job, don't they?
They do.
They do a really, really good job of creating people that you really love and people that you love to hate.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, between that.
And are you watching the preview every time?
If I'm watching an episode and I let the next one start, it will
skip it. No. Yeah, no. You got to back up. You got to back out and go to it manually so that you can get. I am.
Every time I start new, like every time I hit continue watching, it will play the trailer. So
right.
Considering how much I've binged the series, I have seen the intro 3 times.
That's it? Oh no, you're not. You've got to see it at least 8 or 10 times before you appreciate the phrase "I am Uhtred, son of Uhtred."
Also, I'm Uhtred, son of Uhtred, who has a son named Uhtred.
Right.
This.
You gotta love those Vikings.
So yeah, I'm wondering if I should start playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla at some point, just to keep everything thematically consistent.
Yeah, you can. I really wish that the Assassin's Creed Valhalla was multiplayer. I would love to play that with you. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so they've got nothing left in the show. Anything else that we want to add before we end this show?
I'll just really quickly say that The Northman was really fucking good.
Really?
Yes. It's a fucking weird movie. You would think Viking revenge story, fairly straightforward. This director, he's known for historical accuracy and writing dialogue that's really era appropriate. So that makes it a weird movie. They're really heavy into mysticism and shape changing. Part of it kind of feels like a fantasy. It kind of feels like an Elden Ring movie because there's literally
just what you need to make you worse.
He literally goes on a side quest to find a magic sword.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a great movie though. I love it.
Diaper Cat's up and around. No longer Diaper Cat. Cone Cat.
Diaper Cat is dead.
Cone Cat.
Diaper Cat is gone. Cone Cat is here.
He really wants to scratch his cheeks, and he can.
He does.
Oh. All right. Well, on that note, I'm going to let you go scratch his cheeks because he deserves it.
Okay.
So let's close this out. You've been listening to GameHounds episode
6. 636.
Thank you. Episode 636. We did record this on Sunday, April 24th, 2020, and I'm spitting on myself. April 24th, 2022. I've been Edie. Sellers. With me has been Nick DeNicola. If you ever want to get a hold of us, GameHounds.net is our website. GameHounds@gmail is our email. Gmail.com. We record the show live at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern on pretty much all streaming platforms that, are legitimate and would host people like us. Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Facebook and Twitch, we are The GameHounds. YouTube, we are GameHounds Vids. VIDS is in videos. All one word, GameHounds Vids. We would love to have you join us live because we do a lot of stuff before the show. We do a lot of stuff after the show. So if you're listening to the audio podcast, you're missing a good half hour of just us talking shit to each other because that's what we do. But if you'd like to join us, please do so on those platforms. If you want to just listen to us as an audio podcast, awesome. We are on iTunes. We are on Audible. We are on Spotify. We are on iHeartRadio. Pretty much every platform to listen to a audio show, we're there. If we're not there and there's one that you like, please let us know. I'll be happy to put it up there. Just send me an email at Edie, that's EDIE, at gamehounds.net, and I will endeavor to jump on that and get it where you need it to be. Hope you have a great week. Oh, I do want to remind you a couple of things. One, we have a Discord. Our Discord is on our Facebook page. As I said before, it's facebook.com/The GameHounds. You will find our link to the Discord. Please feel free to join us in the Discord. And also, we have a Patreon. We have been doing this for now 13 years, and it has been saved in the last 3 by you guys on StreamYard. If it weren't for our patrons, we would not be able to do the video show. Thank you so much to all of our patrons from the bottom of our heart. If you are interested in becoming a patron, we ask for $1 a month. That's all we ask. We're very, very tight with our money and use it well. And we will give you more content because more content is good. Have a great week, everyone. Be safe. Take care of yourself. And we will talk to you next week here on the GameHounds. Bye-bye, everyone. And this is GameHounds Raw 636 Raw saved, and we are good. So we are off on the audio, still on video.
Okay, so for the past couple days, Cone Cat has learned how to get into the boxes of cat food that I keep. Previously, he had learned to unhook and open the crate, so I started putting 5-pound weights on the top of it. The problem is that those weights are curved, so he has learned he can jump up there, push the weight off, then jump down, unhook it, and open it. So what I've now done is I've rearranged the food area so that the food crates are like in between 2 high points, so that they cannot be tipped over. And I am now watching him try to figure out this newest puzzle.
Bitters calls him MacGyver Cat. That is what he is after he's Cone Cat. He's going to be MacGyver Cat. He's working at it.
See, he knows. Okay, this next step, push off the weights.
He's he is so freaking smart.
Oh my god.
He got one of them down. All right.
See, he knows how to get inside. He knows how to open that slot.
Is he getting in? He's got it. He's got it into it. He's got his paw in there. Oh my god. Why don't you just feed your damn cat, Nick?
Because it's not his dinner time.
So he's clearly hungry. See, if you let him get hungry, it just gives him an opportunity to use that big brain of his to get into mischief. He would never have learned if you just fed him.
He has knocked this crate over the past 2 days. He has binged himself on it. See, the thing is, he can get a paw in there, but he can't get a hold of anything. Thank God he doesn't have opposable thumbs.
Bitter says all low testosterone males are MacGyver. Oh.
Humans win this round.
Yeah, right now. He's working on it. I can see the gears working. He's not giving up. He's just taking a break to rethink. He's going to see if he can get his head in there, but he can't with the cone. Could he get his head in there without the cone?
Probably.
Oh God. Nick comes home from work one day and there's a cat dead because it's hung itself. Getting in there. Shepard, don't learn bad stuff. Go away. Stop looking at him, Shepard. You're just making it worse and you're learning bad habits.
He's just torturing himself because he's touching the food, but he can't pull it out. Okay,
all right.
So that's just going to keep going for...
all night. That's going to be going.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks so much, everybody, for being in the chat room. Thank you to Bitters and to AC Wraith, of course, our link bitch. Once again, thank you for everything that you do. For a Blood Reaper, for all the great links in Discord. If it wasn't for you, Nick would have nothing to talk about. To Mr. Maynard, who's in the chat room, to Vice, who's in the chat room, to, was it Alan is in the chat room. A ton of people today. I'm so glad to see you. And I'm glad that you were here, even if you're not here now. Thanks for being a part of the show for today. And we will be back next week. Have a great weekend, everyone. What's left of it. Be safe out there. The rates are increasing. It is, by the way, yeah, people are fully vaccinated people at my work, like fully vaccinated and boosted people at my work are coming down. And this version, this Omicron, was it B2?
BA2?
Yeah. Makes you so fucking sick. Even if you're vaccinated, it makes you fucking sick. So everyone be super careful out there, even if you're not seeing it in the news. That this version of the virus is no bueno. It will knock you out. It will lay you down and sit on your head for about a week and a half where you can't stand up. So if you want to spend a week and a half in bed feeling like ass, go right ahead. But if you don't, wash your hands, wear your mask, and if you aren't vaccinated, for God's sake, go get yourself vaccinated right now. Have a great week. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye, everyone.
Bye.